To start with, could you introduce yourselves and your relationship to Pete?
Okay, my name's Jodie and I am Pete's daughter.
And I'm Dawn and I am the partner of 26 years of Peter.
Whoa, Rosa, up ya? Hey, it's a bucket. Oh, I'm swearing there.
Stop swearing. Well, you get a lot of that by the end of the day, innit?
Oh. You'll get me double spot.
1988, yes. He told me his hobby, that I wouldn't be able to stop him. And he had done, I think it was 1,500, but he was going to stop at 3,000.
I don't know how I feel at the moment. I don't know. I feel a bit strange. I don't know why. A bit emotional because the old man out there.
So he has an attitude where you only live once.
Nah, I'll be there all day. All right then. All right, ta-ra. Some press bloke.
Probably just live for the moment.
Remember last time you left it to your son, he went training and forgot about it?
Yeah.
I had to phone you up there, at home.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was in India and all.
You got your license then?
Oh, I'll be right like that one.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Here he is. He's Naz. The minibus man. I just wanted to get to 20,000, at least for the old man's birthday, which it'll be tomorrow. So, his dad's at 86, it'd have been tomorrow if he'd have lived long enough. Because it's all been about, right at the beginning, 20,000. Even when we got to our 10,000, I said, we've got to get to 20, Dad. Oh, well, then it'd be 30. I said, let's get to 20 first. I said, that's the aim I had in my head when I started all them years ago. I said, I almost killed myself on one holiday. I phoned my missus up and I said, I'm coming home. I said, why? I said, I can't drink anymore. I said, I've had 93 points this week. I said, I don't want no more. I said, I'm coming home now. I said, put a chicken in the oven. I couldn't drink, not one more point. Ross, the cameraman's here.
Right. Yeah. So. We don't know yet.
Straight up there.
Thank you, very glad. It's like going to a wedding.
It's all right round here, either. There's nothing to see, do, drink, eat.
Yeah, man. You call yet till I'm ready. Do you
ready?
I've got to shove this up your route.
Hang on, Johnny boy.
Am you ready?
Johnny boy, here I am. Well, he ain't gonna know. Yeah, there's a question, John. Who am the Black Country Ale Tairsters? Go on. Who am they?
Well, all of us, innit? In the pen, I don't know.
Oh, that's the end of that. That's somebody else with a brain.
All the people in here. You're from the Black Country.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm from the
Pete Hill and all his followers.
Put the reggae on.
The Black Country Ale Tairsters are a group of people who have been touring pubs for 32 years.
These Black Country boozers are on the biggest pub crawl in the world.
We've had a drink in every county in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. We've actually done every pub in Wales.
Too many of them. Signature.
Yes, sir.
We're now doing islands off the coast of England, or Great Britain. And we're carrying on.
Thank you.
Right, can you now sign me book for me, girl? Sign your book? Oh, you could keep that and stick on the wall. It's our 18,899th pub we've had a drink in.
18,899 pubs?
Yes, it's took 32 years, sir. I need your signature.
Jesus Christ, and I thought I drank.
We leave a card in every pub is to prove we've been in. How about that then?
One can go.
Yeah, I'll get rid of that. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Tring. There you go, boys. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, there you go.
18 flat.
899.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Yeah, go on.
It's on all the while.
Hey, oh, shush.
Well, I ain't ready to out, have I?
Gate trigger, somebody with a bit of drive.
How did it all begin? Well, this only started, Ross, with the Banksy's point and platter maps back in 1984. Point and platter maps, which they opened up, and it showed you all the positions of all the pubs that Banksy's and Hanson's owned at the time. So that started a massive pub crawl of 32 years, because once we finished all them and brought another design out, finished all them, I've got to have a drink in them to count them. It's no use visiting them, just taking a photograph and carrying on to the next one, a photograph. I've got to go in, take a photograph inside, get the book signed, have a drink. Then it counts. Yeah. I never count a pub if I never have a drink in it.
I met them about 7 years ago, possibly 8 years ago, when they were doing all of the pubs in Wales.
I first met Pete and his dad in 1997 in the Rising Sun in Tipton.
One of the lads that worked there actually asked me to come along on one of their drinking sessions, so I came along. His name was Johnny Blundell, and he got me involved from the beginning. That's when I met Pete and all the lads then from there.
There's no joining fee, but you need to, like, social events, like going to pubs, and you need to, like, drinking ales, mainly real ales we go for. Yeah, but you need to be a people person who try to get on with everyone, and you need to be a person who don't get offended by a bit of camaraderie and mickey taking, because that's what we do.
Ross, have you got me good side? Got me good side. We go out. We don't go out for trouble or anything like that. We just go out to have a good time, a good laugh. We'll take the mickey out of each other, and that's a bit of banter, like, you know what I mean. And that's what it's all about.
Vote leave. That's my campaign. There's no real ale in Germany. No real ale in France. From loneliness to wedding ring. I played an ace and I won a queen. You made me king of your heart. Diddly-doom, diddly-doom. Oh, wow. Can you sign me book for me? Yes, of course you will. You can keep that then, Gav. It's our 18,905th pub we've had a drinking. Okay. And we're visiting every single pub in the whole of Nottinghamshire, trying to raise a little donation for the Nottingham Children's Hospital. That's what it's all about. Right, okay. We just handed over 3,000 to Samuel and West Birmingham Children's Hospital. That was for finishing every pub in the West Midlands. Before that, we spent 7 years, raised £11,000 for the various Welsh children's hospitals.
It was a good opportunity to see more of the British Isles, because you're going places that I would never ever have got to.
I mean, until this hobby started, I never moved out of West Bromwich. Yes, this is what you call out in the wilds.
There's a lapwing there, look, plover.
Bloody lapwing is a flying
That's
pig.
The shepherds up there.
That's flying. That's shepherds.
They stay in there.
By night.
There's a plover, look.
A plover, it's a bleeding sparrow.
Black wing.
It's a kiwi.
That's a fucking curlew.
A fucking sparrow.
Fucking telling you, that's a fucking curlew.
It's a sparrow, mate.
Bollocks.
It is, you can tell them. I go tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet.
You're a twat, twat, twat.
Where's the gaffer?
Who's the gaffer there? Look, he's got a camera.
Some of the lads are interested in the beers, the different beers. Some are interested in the pubs. I know Pete prefers the pubs. He likes, interesting pubs. Personally, I like the beer.
It's just the atmosphere inside itself. You can tell by the characters that you meet, the bar staff that you meet. You can tell that makes a good pub, I think.
People who welcomes you.
Not just the pub that looks good. It's the atmosphere inside as well.
What Pete tries to do, which they're getting scarcer and scarcer now, is the oldie worldy traditional pubs. What I like personally is the atmosphere of the micro pubs, because it's trying to create the atmosphere, I think, of how the old pubs was without any technology, jukeboxes, one-armed bandits, etc. It's more of a social thing where people could have a good old chat, what pubs used to be like, which involves people rather than isolating people like a lot of technology does today, and that's what I like about it.
When Pete started, before I got with them, there were about 78,000 pubs in the country. Last year, the count was down to 46,000, which is a lot of pubs gone.
We had so many pubs to visit within walking distance round here. And we got one now out of about 16. Now this one here, the Eight Locks, is where Jack George, he penned in Long Way to Tipperary. Because he was only from Albury and this was his local. I'm amazed how pubs have survived. All depressions of the 20s and 30s, gone through 2 world wars and them still surviving. And here you come into a supposedly prosperous time and them all shutting down. So something's gone wrong. Either the rent's too high or strange. That was the George Anson's pub. That's where I started drinking, that was. I was 24 when I started drinking from there.
There's a lot of these micro pubs opening up, micro breweries. We've done a few of them, but they're opening so fast. It's unbelievable. Can't keep up with it. But we'll try. We'll attempt to keep going, you know what I
mean? We won't have no trouble after this one. I guarantee you.
But they finally made it to their 10,000th watering hole here at the Rope Walk in Birmingham. And it's been a pub crawl with quite a history.
I did go on a few, I did, but then once I had the kids, it all stopped. I remember the very first one I went on. He says, right, I've got your plastic bag. And he says, and you'll be sleeping in a field. So I said, okay, I'll give it a go. And there's ants crawling everywhere and it's absolutely hammering down. And I sleep the night in a field in a plastic bag in the rain. And I thought, if this is his idea of fun.
What's the matter? Last night's skip in place, very unfortunate.
What time is it?
7:15.
He's hilarious.
He's gone now.
He's hilarious, what can I say?
He's hilarious. Very.
The things he comes out with is unbelievable.
We'd actually go catch a wedding, nobody turned up for it. So we come in the bar and said nobody's turned up for the wedding. Would you all lads like to come in? And liven it up. So we went up there, we had a big crash and we thought, what's happened to that? It's only Drew, he's collapsed his head's in the driveway.
I do remember that, actually, yeah.
If we revisit pubs, they all know Pete. They all know, and they all ask about his dad.
Yeah,
I mean, his funeral, it told the story. And every people coming out the shops to the Great Bridge, everybody
I think
stopped.
a lot of people had more respect for Joe.
For Joe. He was that good.
He used to go around all the pubs and play darts, and I mean, he was a real good darts. They used to pay him to go and play back in the 60s. I suppose he got the pub atmosphere in him. And then I followed Dad from 14 to 24. I never drunk, I just played darts in the pub while Dad was having a drink and getting on with the locals. And that's where I've got the bug, I think. Yeah!
He was a legend. Joe was a legend.
You wouldn't be able to film nothing. You'd have been laughing your head off, I tell you. He was a character. He was a character and all. When they talk to you, Pete's the same. Just the way they put it, they draw you in. You're like, you're just all ears then, you know what I mean? They just draw you in, don't they?
I just proved a point to Dad how gullible the press am. The reporter found up, he said, do you know how many beers you've drunk? I says, yeah. I said, 46,500, right? Oh. But just, this is going back 10 years. I said to Dad, I said, how gullible the reporter is. Yo, what's this? You know what questions I'm going to ask. How many beers do you think you've drunk? I said, 1 million. And he went, 1 million? I went, yeah, 1 million. Oh dear, the next day in the paper, I felt so embarrassed. He'd done a big spread. Pete Hill has drunk 1 million pints in 2-inch letters. And I thought, how can I drink 1 million pints even if it's 50p a pint? I'd have to have £500,000, you know what I mean? But it was in the paper and I thought, yeah, bleeding Charlies. They come down for no proof or nothing.
I think all he wants to do is Pete wants to prove a point that he's the only one I know of that he's done 18,000 odd pubs.
Yeah.
I've known nobody else.
It's legit. He ain't one of these ones that like tick, tick, tick. I've done that. It's tick, picture, signature.
He's got proof.
I've got the 100% proof.
He likes to think himself as a diarist, an historian.
I'm the Samuel Poops of my day. What's the other one, mate? What's the name of that one? Shine On. Not only is it a pub crawl, everything's documented from the beers that they sell in the pub to the decor of the pub. Yeah, this is the major folder which records every single pub in order and the days and what I did and whether I got a photograph inside of them, a photograph outside of them, and then I record it in all my box files, as you can see behind them, all where all my photographs and film. But this is my main book. It's easy to find at any pub. Just turn the page here, just 9,978. So just look over here, 9,978, and it's over here, so it is 9,978. So it's all up there, you might guess. We would be. Well, just pretend that's 12. We'll just pretend it's 11,952. This little stool here, it was all around 3 times, and you can go back to any year, to 1984. Any year. It's up the Tannhill where I'm going for my 60th. It's cold, freezing, strong wind this morning. It's blowing us off our feet to us. With my bag filled up with water. Oh, soaked. And you can just sit here for hours and just see who was where on the trips and if the pubs are still there.
He's got a target, and he goes for that target. So
He has got a health problem, though, eh? They've warned him. Health problem. I've seen Pete in hospital. Really bad. Really, really bad.
He still continues to do it, even though he says he's going to slow down, and he still doesn't.
He just wants to break new world records.
Only the lonely. I was on a sun holiday down, where was I? Landud now. And I woke up in the morning thinking it was cramp. And I ended up in hospital for a week. I had blood clots in my legs and my lungs. Fucking hell, where is it, rat? I had pneumonia, blood clots in my lungs, blood clots in my legs. And I thought beer's supposed to thin your blood. So I've been very well. But you got to keep going, eh? I mean, going around all these islands now. I don't know whether I should have started it. But it's something that I've started and I will finish it. Okay, ladies. Chris. I do intend to slow down, but I've got my beer run next Saturday for the Almonds Memorial. And then the week after, I've got a 4-dayer on a sun holiday down Bognor Regis. And then I'll come back from there, and then I'm off to Brighton, and then I'll come back. Hello, it's Peter Hill here. We booked a table for a few of us. I forgot how many now, it might be 14. For 8 o'clock, and according to the sat-nav, we should be there smack on 8 o'clock, so we are on our way. So get cooking. Thank you. I think in life you've got to set certain targets and try not to overdo it.
He sets a goal and he does it. And yes, I am proud of him. He wants to make his mark on the world.
The last 12 months has been phenomenal. I took early retirement purposely to have my lump sum and spend it all travelling my pubs and sampling the beers. And it's worked out exactly how I planned. It was my dad's ambition to get to 20,000. He died 3 years ago and I've done it. and it's my dad's birthday tomorrow. He'll be 86. So I'll perhaps go over his grave tomorrow and throw a pint of beer over it.
Do not drink that.
I thought I got this one.
Stop that again if you don't want.
Right. Oh.
Look towards me. Get back into the middle again for us, sorry.
I'm out of breath, you know, keep moving across here.
Crouch down.
Can you sign my book for me now? I'm ready. You just print your name and sign it there. Yeah. I went to a pub 3 weeks ago, sorry, because I haven't been able to do a pub for 2 weeks because I've had to wait for today. Matt drove me there. I walks in the pub, arms the door, walks in the pub, stands at the bar. 5 minutes gone by, so I started banging the counter. I thought, oh, the gaffer must be on the toilet. Another 5 minutes, I thought, well, I'll make me notes, take me photograph, record the beers. All of a sudden, the gaffer runs in the boozer. He said, stop there, I'm fetching the police. You're my burglar. I said, I'm not about a burglar. And he went, you've broken me pub. I said, I ain't broken your pub. He says, you have? How you got in me pub? I said, through the doors. No, he said, them was locked. How you got in me pub? I said, I ain't come down the chimney. And he went, you come to go in, that was locked. I said, I walked through the door, there's me driver. And I said, can I have a drink? And he went, no, I'm shut. I said, can I have a bottle then? So he gave me a bottle, £3 10p. I said, can you take the top off? Oh, you can't drink it in here, you'll have to go outside and drink it. So by the time he stopped talking to me, asking me what I was doing, I drunk the beer and got a £1 donation off him.
30 years, well, mate. This is a beauty. Anyway, are you ready, lads?
Don't ask me, you bastard.
You won't. You wanted the last question.
No, you said I'll go and have it.
Right, okay.
It's your press,
Okay.
It's your press conference.
Who's got the next round?
How
about that?
And that's all I've got to say about that. Oh my God, we got sheep on the road.
Interrupt this broadcast.
that now ends the broadcast.
The next round. Pete says, I want the last one.
Just in time I saw the twinkle in your eye. To a king, you up, from loneliness.